So this guy got dumped by his fiancée for being broke and weak, but now that he's rich and powerful, she's crawling back, begging for another chance. But here's how it all started. The morning sun poured through the windows of Year 3, Class 6, casting soft golden light across the silent classroom. Students sat hunched over their desks, fully absorbed in their midterm exams, the tension in the air thick enough to cut with a blade. But one student lay slumped forward, seemingly fast asleep. Then his eyes snapped open. "Junior sister," he screamed, voice raw with desperation. His body shot upright, heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. Confused gasps echoed around him. What the hell? Wasn't I just diving into the eye of the universe with Luo Li, gambling everything just to step into the forbidden realm of immortals? Now, blinking lights, plastic desks, classmates blinking at him. What the hell is this? His thoughts spiraled, then hit him like a thunderclap. Luo Li, his junior sister, had thrown herself into the void to save him. She reached out and vanished. She died, and he lived. His breath caught. A single bead of sweat traced down his cheek. "A classroom? I'm seriously taking an exam?" he muttered, voice hollow. A sudden jab to his ribs yanked him back to the present. "Hey, sit down. We're in the middle of a damn exam. Overslept that hard?" A boy barked. Chenmo blinked. "Zhao Gang, my classmate in Year 3? He asked, dazed. Laughter exploded through the classroom like a wave crashing against rocks. "Junior sister? Haha, did that guy lose his damn mind in a dream?" One boy cackled. "Bet he's been binging too many xianxia novels," another added, barely holding in his laughter. Near the window, and Qi, the school beauty, narrowed her eyes coldly. "My parents keep trying to pair me up with him, but he's nothing next to big brother Yuan Hao." In the back, Zheng Yuan Hao leaned lazily in his chair, smirking. "He's not even qualified to be my rival." His words sliced through the murmurs like a blade. "All right, enough. Back to your exams or I'll flunk the whole lot of you," the teacher's voice boomed. It all clicked now. The setting, the noise, the voices. It was real. I'm not dead, I was reborn. Back in high school? Chenmo realized, a tremor running through him. He closed his eyes briefly and searched within, only to find silence. No roaring spiritual energy, no mighty soul force. My surging spirit energy, my powerful soul, they're gone. But then something lit within him. A flame. He clenched his fists. Once he had been trampled underfoot, shattered by the Wan family's schemes. In despair, he ended his life, only to be saved by immortal Emperor Donghua, who showed him the path to cultivation. He had journeyed across worlds, walked among the stars, fought beside Luo Li, and became one of the strongest martial artists in existence. I won't let regrets chain me down again. I'll rise. No matter what it takes, I'll find her. Chenmo, what are you standing there for? Sit or leave already, the teacher snapped. Chenmo smirked, fire gleaming in his eyes. Perfect. The class stared in disbelief as he walked toward the door. He's seriously walking out? One whispered. Is Chenmo crazy or just cocky? Another murmured. But to him, this written test was pointless. His real exam was about to begin, the road to reclaiming everything he lost. As he stepped outside, sunlight warming his face, his mind raced. Realms of cultivation, energy condensation, golden core, soul nucleus, all the way up to immortal exalt. He had once stood at the peak, the Ascension realm, a place few could even dream of reaching. Now he was back at the bottom. I must reach energy condensation as fast as possible. He found a quiet spot beneath a tree, let the breeze wash over him, and sat cross-legged. In his past life, rushing had brought disaster. This time he'd move with care, precision, patience. He closed his eyes. I've practiced countless techniques before, but for this life, only the most stable one will do. One particular manual came to mind, its pages glowing in memory, brighter than the rest. The Rising Dragon Path, best for fortifying a beginner's foundation. Just right for me. He inhaled deeply, then began. Let's start with the first step, drawing energy into the body. Minutes passed. Then his eyes lit up, literally. Spiritual light flickered in his gaze. A smirk tugged at his lips. I succeeded in just 15 minutes. The Rising Dragon Path really is something else. But peace didn't last. A shadow loomed over him. He opened his eyes to see a group of students with Kiyue at the front. Chenmo, what are you doing out here? She demanded. He didn't even get a chance to answer before Yuan Hao stepped up, voice dripping with sarcasm. Maybe Chenmo finished early and wanted to show off, he said, drawing a round of chuckles from his crew. Chenmo's gaze drifted, past Yuan Hao, past Kiyue, to a quiet girl standing near the back. Zheng Yao, he thought, his eyes softening. She was always kind, always there for me, and I never truly appreciated her. Chenmo, are you ignoring me? Kiyue snapped, voice sharp. But he didn't spare her glance. Instead, he stepped toward Zheng Yao, voice warm. Zheng Yao, how'd the exam go? Everyone went silent. Even Zheng Yao blinked in disbelief. He's talking to me? I did okay, she stammered, cheeks turning pink. Chenmo smiled gently and reached out, giving her a light pat on the head. If you make top 10, I've got a mystery gift with your name on it. Her eyes lit up instantly. Really? Yup, he said with a grin, already turning to leave. I've got something important to handle. I'll see you in 3 days. And just like that, he walked off, confident, calm, focused. Behind him, Zhang Yao stood glowing with hope. Keiwei stood frozen, the sting of being ignored cutting deeper than she'd ever admit. Did he really just give me the cold shoulder? She thought, her chest tightening. He's probably just putting on an act, she told herself, but the flicker of frustration in her eyes said otherwise. Meanwhile, Chenmo strolled through the empty streets alone, his steps slow, his mind tangled in memory. Zhang Yao's family, they'll be facing disaster soon. But this time, I won't just stand by and watch. He clenched his fist. I've been given a second chance. I won't let it happen again. Then a thought hit him like a brick. Right? Didn't my parents arrange for me to stay at Kiwi's place? He groaned audibly. I really don't want to stay there. Patting his pockets, he muttered with a scowl, I need a place of my own, but my wallet's emptier than my spiritual core. As he passed a local convenience store, a spark of inspiration hit him. His eyes lit up and his lips curled into a grin. I know! Later that day, Chenmo sat cross-legged on a patch of grass, eyes glazed over with boredom. In front of him, a worn cloth held down by rocks displayed 5 dusty talismans, faded scraps that looked like trash to anyone else. Hours ticked by. People passed without sparing him a glance. Still, he chuckled to himself with a cocky smirk, imagining curious onlookers fighting over his rare treasures. There's got to be at least one person with the eye to recognize these bad boys, he mumbled, nodding confidently. Finally, someone did stop. Jin Peiyun, a tall, elegant girl with long teal hair and a luxurious fur-trimmed coat, crouched down beside the display, her brows arched in curiosity. What can these talismans of yours do? Chenmo straightened up smoothly, as if he'd been waiting for this moment all day. He lifted one talisman with flair, his tone calm and assured. Calm the mind, soothe the soul, banish evil, bless your home, toughen your body, basically a miracle in paper form. Peiyun's expression shifted, her voice dropped, laced with urgency. What if someone's not right, speaking gibberish, forgetting family, can that be healed? Chenmo didn't blink. He calmly pointed at one talisman. Classic yin-yang imbalance. Their earth soul has gone off track. Modern diagnosis? Neurasthenia. This one. He tapped it gently. Is your answer. Peiyun's eyes lit up instantly. How much? Calming one? 30,000. Reinvigorating? 20. The rest are 10 each. He said it like he was listing snacks. I believe you. I'll take it, she replied without hesitation. A sharp voice cut in like a blade through silk. 30. What? Li Shengnan stomped over, eyes blazing. You better just rob someone instead. She grabbed Peiyun's sleeve. Seriously? You're gonna blow your money on that junk? They're just doodles. Peiyun hesitated, but only for a moment. Her voice lowered, trembling with emotion. My grandma's getting worse. I know it might be fake, but I don't care anymore. I need something, anything. Before Li Shengnan could stop her, Peiyun turned to Chenmo, eyes resolute. I'll take it. I'll WeChat you the money right now. Chenmo paused. For a second, his smirk faded. Then he nodded, quietly moved. You're a good granddaughter. Take the rest too. He held one out. Stick this on her forehead and shout, activate! Later that evening, Chenmo leaned back in a sleek leather chair, admiring his new apartment. Hardwood floors, minimalist furniture, and a kitchen that didn't look like it belonged to a broke student. Not too shabby, he said with a grin. Time to get serious and start cultivating. At that very moment, across the city, Peiyun arrived at her family's lavish estate. Grandpa, how's Grandma? Her grandfather sat silently by the bed, face etched with fatigue. Her grandmother lay still, her breath shallow beneath thick covers. Peiyun clutched the glowing talismans in her hands, voice trembling with hope. Grandpa, I met a master today. He gave me these talismans. Let's give them a shot. Her grandfather frowned deeply, his voice sharp. Peiyun, how can you believe in this nonsense? Don't torture your grandmother with false hope. But she didn't back down. Her grip on the talismans tightened. Let's just try. Please, what if it works? Her steps were quiet as she approached the bed. Her gaze softened as she looked at her grandmother's pale face. Slowly, she placed the talisman on her forehead. Then, lifting her fingers with fierce determination, she shouted, Activate! The yellow talisman rested on the old woman's forehead. For a moment, nothing, not even a flicker. Her husband stood by quietly, then sighed. Across the bed, Peiyun's voice trembled. Grandpa? He turned with tired eyes. Even the top specialists in Yenqing couldn't help your grandmother. How could a piece of yellow paper do what they couldn't? His tone was heavy, resigned to the inevitable. Then, a faint hiss broke the silence. The talisman began to glow, golden light sparking from its center. It surged upward in streams, lighting the room like a divine flare. The old woman stirred. She slowly sat up, voice raspy but clear. Zhongrun. Peiyun's heart skipped. Grandma? Do you know who I am? The old woman smiled. Of course. You're my granddaughter. Why wouldn't I? The old man nearly fell backward. Peiyun, hurry, get Dr. Lin. Moments later, the doctor rushed in, half tripping over himself, stethoscope flying. He ran his checks, eyes darting between vitals and screens, then froze. This is a miracle. She's stable, completely fine. Peiyun clasped her hands, tears welling up. Thank God. But her grandfather's tone shifted sharply. Peiyun, I need details. Every single one. Where did you get that talisman? Who gave it to you? After hearing her full story, the old man stiffened. He stood up straight, mobilized everything, quietly and respectfully. I want to meet him. Meanwhile, in the soft morning glow, Chenmo lay stretched across his bed. A Saitama poster loomed above him like a bald, bored guardian. "The spirit energy on Earth is tragic," he muttered. "3 more days and I'll hit energy condensation." He glanced at his phone. "Any second now, Mom should call." Right on cue. "Incoming call." Li Sufang, he picked up. "Chenmo, get to Hanyang Airport now. We're flying to Yenqing, your grandmother's funeral." His hand trembled slightly. 600 years. And I finally hear her voice again. Holding back the emotion, Chenmo responded calmly. "Got it. I'll be there soon. My condolences." As the car sped down the highway, his mind wandered. My mom, Li Sufang, one of the Li family's golden daughters. But marrying my dad, a commoner, that was enough to get her kicked out without a second thought. His fists clenched. They looked down on her, and me? I was just a pawn, something to trade off to the Yan family. And when that didn't work out, they still clung to the engagement like it was a business deal. As the airport came into view, Chenmo exhaled slowly. Dressed in a sleek black suit, he stepped out of the car like a man walking back into the past, with unfinished business. I've been reborn. Now it's my turn to set the record straight. Inside Yenqing Airport, Li Sufang stood under the glowing arrival boards. Chenmo spotted her from afar, and the words slipped out, soft and half-choked. "Mom, I can't cry. Stay cool, Chenmo. You're a cultivator now, not a drama lead." She turned, startled, her eyes widened. Chenmo grinned. "You've gotten prettier since last time." She blinked. "When did you start talking like that?" "I've always been charming. You just didn't notice," he quipped, walking beside her. They strolled quietly toward the gate. "When we arrive, kowtow properly to your grandmother," she said. He nodded. "Of course, I will." The plane soared across the clouds, slicing through the sky like a blade. Soon, the Yenqing district came into view, home of the Li family's ancestral estate. Luxury cars lined the driveway like trophies, polished and proud. Clearly, nothing had changed. The Li family was still dripping in wealth and ego. At the gate, Chenmo and Li Sufang stepped forward. The towering iron entrance cast a long shadow over them. A familiar retainer appeared, and the moment he laid eyes on Li Sufang, his expression soured. Chenmo's eyes narrowed. "Just one look, and I know. They still see her as an outcast." Li Sufang's voice snapped like a whip. "How could I not come to see my mother one last time?" The retainer bowed slightly, guarded. "I wouldn't dare speak of other matters, but attending the funeral won't be easy." Her eyes sharpened. "It's my right to mourn my own mother. No one can stop me." She strode past him. As Chenmo walked beside her, he felt the sting of countless glares piercing through the air like knives. In my past life, those looks made me shrink back, made me think I didn't belong. But now, the entire Li family are just ants beneath my feet. Inside, cold incense smoke drifted through the morning hall. At the center, seated by the altar with a face carved from stone, was Li Dongyang, the Li family's patriarch. Still proud, still heartless. Nearby, Li Liwen, her oldest brother, scoffed. "Fourth sister, why are you here?" Her voice was steady. "Since you still call me fourth sister, then you already know why." Li Liwu, the second brother, snorted, arms crossed, disgust thick in his voice. Eventually, Lin let out a forced chuckle. "Fine, pay your respects to mother." Li Sufang stepped forward with her head held high. Chenmo followed silently until a hand shot out to block his path. Someone barked. She turned, fury rising. "He's my son, your mother's grandson. Why stop him? If he's an outsider, aren't your kids the same?" Li Liwu growled. "He's not on the family register. Outsiders don't step foot in the morning hall, not over my dead body." The tension was thick, ready to snap, until Li Lian, their sister, stepped in, calm and cutting. "Fourth sister, don't disturb mother's peace. You'll bring shame to the family." Li Wen joined her, voice cold as ice. "She's right. Don't upset father." Li Sufang clenched her jaw, then slowly exhaled. "I understand." She turned to Chenmo, her voice softening. "Your grandmother loved you. Since they won't let you in, pay your respects from here." Chenmo nodded once. He stepped forward, knelt at the threshold, and bowed deeply. "Rest well, Grandma. This time, I won't let history repeat." Later that night, outside the estate, one of the younger Li family masters approached with a polite smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Auntie, please rest here. I'll arrange a room for your son." She frowned. "He can stay with me." But the young man chuckled, voice dipped in fake manners. "Father said the younger generation must sleep separately. You know, etiquette." Chenmo stepped in gently. "Mom, it's okay. I'll be fine." The young master's smirk deepened. He already knew what was coming. Chenmo followed him across the dark yard, moonlight casting long shadows over the path ahead, toward a half-rotted warehouse tucked behind the estate. His steps didn't falter. "I know this place. In my past life, they locked me in here. I nearly died." The young master stopped and tossed him a key, grinning like he just won a game. "You'll be staying here tonight. Be grateful we even gave you a roof." A small flame sparked from his fingertip, dancing as he lit the key up for a second before flicking the fire out. His smile was calm. "Thanks. It's just what I needed." Later that night, in the moonlit shadows, several figures crept toward the warehouse. The young master stood tall at the front, surrounded by cronies straight out of a bad movie. He twirled a second key, the spare, with smug satisfaction. "Open it," he ordered, eyes gleaming with anticipation. The heavy wooden door creaked open. The young master of the Lee family stepped into the dim warehouse, smugness dripping from every step. Go in. Two hired goons moved forward cautiously, metal pipes clutched tightly in their hands. But the moment they laid eyes on what was inside, they froze. There, in the center of the room, sitting cross-legged on a chair like he owned the place, was Chen Mo. Calm, unshaken, waiting, his gaze locked on them, cool as ice. What's the plan, boys? Surprise birthday beating? Outside, the young master's smirk widened. I want him to understand what happens when you insult me. He flicked his wrist. Go. Just don't kill him. I need him breathing when he begs. The two thugs lunged. Big mistake. Chen Mo moved like a loaded spring. His fist shot forward, burying itself in the first thug's gut with a sickening thud. The second tried to swing, but caught a boot to the chest that launched him into a stack of crates. Both hit the ground like trash bags. Chen Mo stood tall in the wreckage, brushing dust off his jacket like he was late for a wedding. The young master's smirk twitched. So you've got some skills. No wonder you weren't scared. But then his body began to crackle. A surge of electricity burst around him, aura flaring as he shouted, "Then let me show you what true strength looks like." Chen Mo blinked. Spirit energy? He squinted. Nah, too weak to call it that. The goons, watching from the sidelines with creepy grins, whispered, "He's toast. Young master's in the advanced outer realm. A real martial artist." The young master struck fast, but Chen Mo didn't flinch. He calmly raised an arm and caught the punch with one hand. No effort, no movement, just disrespect. Before the young master could even process what happened, Chen Mo grabbed his arm, lifted him effortlessly, and slammed him into the floor like he was folding laundry. The impact shook the room. The young master writhed, world spinning, pain flooding his body. Chen Mo stepped over him, placing a firm boot on his chest. "That's the power you were bragging about?" he asked, half bored. From the doorway, the goons screamed in panic. "Chen Mo, stop! Let him go!" Chen Mo looked over, eyes still calm. "Let him go?" Sure. Crack! His foot right into the young master's dantian. A scream tore the room. "Chen Mo, you crushed my core! I'll never forgive you!" Chen Mo calmly straightened his jacket, gave his sleeves a flick, then turned to walk away, voice smooth as silk. "Relax." His eyes darkened, a crooked smirk playing on his lips. "The show's just getting started." Later that night, under the soft glow of courtyard lanterns, the entire estate buzzed with tension. At the center, the young master, bloodied and broken. Beside him, his father Li Liwen and his mother both on their knees, weeping. The Li family's patriarch Li Dongyang stormed forward, face thunderous. "Tell me what happened," Li Liwen's voice cracked as he shouted. "Father, fourth sister's bastard son, he crushed our boy's core." Li Dongyang's expression turned to stone. "Little bastard, how dare he?" He turned sharply to Li Liwu. "Go, bring your fourth sister and Chen Mo here. Now!" But before Li Wu could move, a voice rang out across the courtyard. Cold, calm, and unmistakably bold. "No need." Everyone turned. Chen Mo stepped forward, hands in his pockets, eyes steady. "I'm right here." Gasps exploded through the courtyard. "That kid actually dared to show up here alone? He's done for. Get ready to watch him suffer." The elders and core family members flared up like a lit fuse. From behind them, the young master's mother burst forward, her face twisted with grief and fury. "He's your cousin, your own flesh and blood. How could you be so heartless?" But Li Dongyang didn't flinch. His voice boomed like thunder. "Kneel." Chen Mo didn't move. His gaze was calm, unshaken. "Kneel." The old man's voice cracked with rage. Chen Mo's voice dropped like iron. "I, Chen Mo, am a righteous man. I've done nothing wrong." The courtyard exploded. "How arrogant, ignorant brat! Does he really want to die here?" Li Liwen snarled, fists clenched. "You bastard! You seriously stand here with that attitude after crushing your cousin's core? You dishonor the Li name." Chen Mo chuckled, low and cold. "The Li name? Oh, now I'm part of the family? Since when? You people have treated me like trash since day one. Why would I want to belong to this circus?" "Father, did you hear that?" Li Liwen cried. "He's mocking the family. Please punish him, for my son's sake." Li Dongyang's eyes narrowed into slits. "Use the family punishment rules." The entire courtyard went still. "It's over. They're going to cripple him," one woman whispered, eyes wide. Li Liwen's wife pointed at Chen Mo, her voice shrill with hatred. "Bastard! You ruined my son. You should have died instead." Just as the sentence was about to fall, a sharp voice shattered the tension. "Wait!" Footsteps echoed fast across the courtyard stones. Fourth sister stepped beside Chen Mo, face stern and steady. "Big brother, Chen Mo isn't ruthless. There's more to this. Something doesn't add up." Li Liwen snapped back without missing a beat. "More to this? Our nephew is lying there soaked in blood." She turned to her son, tone softer. "Chen Mo, what really happened?" Chen Mo looked at her, then scanned the crowd of furious relatives. "You really think they'll believe anything I say?" She nodded. "Justice lives in people's hearts. Speak your truth. Let them decide." Chen Mo sighed and cracked his neck. "All right, I can ignore the rest of these clowns, but not you, Mom." He turned and yanked a trembling man forward by the collar. "This guy saw everything. Let's hear what he has to say." The man stammered under Chen Mo's cold glare. He tried to hold out, but after one more step forward from Chen Mo, he broke. Liyue said he wanted to teach Chen Mo a lesson. He wanted to scare Li Sufang, so he lured Chen Mo to the storehouse, told us to beat him as long as he didn't die. Gasps again. But Chen Mo was too strong, the man cried. He defended himself. Leo gave it his all and ended up crippled. It wasn't even close. The crowd that once roared with outrage now stood frozen in shame. Chen Mo's mother stepped forward slowly, eyes sharp as blades. She stared down Li Liwen. Big brother, take a good look at the kind of son you raised. Li Yue's mother snapped, her voice slicing through the thick tension in the courtyard. Even if Li Yue said all that, Chen Mo didn't have to go that far. And what exactly did he say that was so wrong? Why are you all so afraid of the past being brought up? You, Li Sufang barked, stepping forward, anger flaring in her eyes. But Chen Mo gently placed a hand on her arm. Mom, it's fine. His tone was calm, steady, like stone against a storm. Still, Li Sufang wasn't finished. She turned to Li Dongyang, her voice firm but trembling with contained fury. Let me ask you this. If it were Chen Mo lying in that bed instead, would you have called for family punishment? The courtyard went silent. Every gaze shifted to the patriarch, waiting. Chen Mo narrowed his eyes, a faint smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. Good question. Go ahead, Li Dongyang. Let's hear it. The old man's voice came cold and without hesitation. I wouldn't. A ripple of gasps ran through the crowd. He followed with something colder. He's not part of the Li family. The fate of an outsider is of no concern to us. Li Sufang's lips trembled. Her hands curled into fists. Clear enough and cold enough. She raised her voice again. Then tell me, how does the Li family intend to handle this situation? Li Dongyang roared back. Blood must be repaid with blood. Detain Chen Mo now. He'll be punished once Li Yue regains consciousness. But Li Sufang didn't flinch. Her gaze remained locked with his, calm, fearless, defiant. And if I refuse, the old man's expression twisted in rage. How dare you? Why wouldn't I? She shot back. Unfilial child. Li Dongyang bellowed, raising his hand to strike her. But before the blow could land, Chen Mo stepped in and caught the old man's wrist midair. His grip was firm, his gaze unwavering. The courtyard broke into chaos. He stopped the patriarch? This is outrageous. How dare he lay a hand on the elder? Everyone froze when Li Liwu stepped forward, raising a pistol. His voice was cold and deliberate. One more move and I'll shoot without hesitation. Li Sufang rushed to Chen Mo's side, her voice urgent. Chen Mo, let go. But Chen Mo's focus didn't break. He caught movement behind the Li patriarch, two elderly men stepping forward quietly. Their presence was different, heavy, dangerous. Those two, they're not ordinary. They could actually threaten me, Chen Mo thought. So the Li family does have hidden cards after all. Still, he didn't back down. The dignity of an Ascension Realm cultivator tolerates no disrespect, he told himself. In my last life, I could only endure, but this time I will never let them humiliate my mother again. Then his voice rang out across the courtyard. Yes, I crippled him. And if anyone has a problem with that, you're welcome to try me. His spiritual energy surged, golden light wrapping around him like a burning aura, casting long shadows across the ground. If no one dares, then maybe it's time the Li family got a new patriarch. Gasps spread like wildfire. He's an inner realm martial artist? Li Liwen's expression turned pale with disbelief. Even Li Dongyang froze. At this distance, if he decides to kill me, no one can stop him. Li Sufang, stunned, whispered softly, "What's happening?" Li Lian stepped forward, trying to regain control. Chen Mo, enough. How can you speak to your grandfather like this? Chen Mo turned slightly, his expression unreadable. Grandfather? His voice was calm, but each word landed like a blade. Where was this grandfather when I was born, when I was being humiliated, when Li Yue dragged me away, or when my mother was insulted in front of everyone? He let the silence linger. That kind of grandfather doesn't exist to me. Then, without hesitation, he let go and stepped back. The old man stumbled, shaken, and Chen Mo declared for all to hear, I, Chen Mo, do not acknowledge him. As silence settled over the courtyard, a composed man with dark blue hair stepped forward from the crowd. It was Li Liwen's eldest son and the Li family's top heir, sharp suit, colder attitude. His voice rang out, polished but cutting. Even with 1,000 excuses, the facts don't change. You injured your cousin, heartless. You refuse to repent, improper. You insult the Li family, disloyal. You ignore your elders, unfilial. He pointed straight at Chen Mo. You claim injustice, but look at yourself. Heartless, improper, disloyal, unfilial. That's all you are. Chen Mo didn't even blink. Instead, he let out a short laugh. You've forgotten something. A calm smirk formed on his lips. My surname is Chen, not Li. Everything you just said sounds formal, sure, but it's still nonsense. Li Zhe scoffed. If you're not one of us, then forget about your mother's rose group. We can crush your little Chen family whenever we please. Chen Mo stepped forward, his presence sharp, composed, radiating quiet power. To me, the Li family is just a bunch of ants. That was the last straw for Li Zhe. His tone turned venomous. Do you have any idea how deep our resources run? If you kneel and apologize now, maybe grandfather will consider placing your name in the family register. If not, he leaned in slightly, the Chen family won't last 5 years. But Chen Mo's eyes blazed with defiance. You want me to kneel? To admit fault? The Li family isn't even qualified to ask for that. Then came the promise. In 3 years, the Li family will kneel before me and beg for mercy. The tension shattered when Li Dongyang roared, silencing the standoff. Enough, it ends now. From this moment on, the Li family will treat the Rose Group and the Chen family as our greatest rivals. Shock rippled through the courtyard like a tidal wave. We're finished, Li Sufang whispered, her voice shaking, but Chen Mo gently took her arm. Mom, let's go. No point staying among people this heartless. As they walked away, her jaw clenched. There's no turning back now, she thought. Whatever happens, I'll protect Rose Group with everything I have. After the storm at the Li estate, things quieted for a while. Chen Mo took his mother home, kept her calm, but his work wasn't done. Soon after, he headed for the Chaisang district, a well-known antique hub filled with old treasures and cheap scams. I need jade stones for a chi formation, he thought, scanning the cluttered stalls. But his gaze was steady. He didn't need to touch anything. No need for appraisal. I just have to release my divine sense and feel the energy. Disappointment came quickly. Not a single one holds natural energy, he noted, frowning. All junk. He was just about to leave when something caught his eye. An elderly man in a long robe sitting calmly behind a modest stall. His posture was composed, his presence unusual. Chen Mo's eyes narrowed. Curious, he walked over and crouched beside the setup. How much for this pair of jade lions? 1,000, the old man answered, flat and unfazed. Chen Mo picked up a painting. This? 2,000. He then pointed toward a small, strange stone tucked at the edge. And that rock? The old man opened one eye, glanced at it, then nodded slowly. Found it in the mountains? You can take it for free. But, the old man smiled faintly. But, you'll have to tell me what it does. That response hit Chen Mo harder than expected. I tried to hide it, but he still sensed something, he thought, eyes locked on the stone, pulsing with faint energy. It looks ordinary, but it holds serious natural power, he nodded. Fine, but you'll need to tell me where you got it, the man agreed. Fair, but not here. He stood and gestured. Come with me. This isn't a place for real conversations. As Chen Mo took the stone into his hand, a quiet smile appeared on his face. This is enough to complete the formation, and with what's left, I can craft protective talismans once I reach the second stage of energy condensation. Inside a warm, golden-lit tea house, the two sat across from each other. The old man poured 2 cups, calm as ever. Then he looked at Chen Mo, eyes steady. All right, now, tell me what that rock does. Chen explained, this rock contains the energy of heaven and earth. It's useless for ordinary people, but miraculous for cultivators. His eyes widened. Are you a martial artist? Chen Mo answered flatly, that's right. The old man rose in awe. My master respected martial artists, but never met one. I thought they were myths. But now I've seen one, he explained further. I found that stone near a black pond in Lingwu Mountain. There were more, but I didn't dare go deeper. The rumors say there are monsters. Monsters? Chen Mo asked. You've seen them? The old man shook his head. No, but when I approach the pond, a chilling energy rushes out. I never dared go near it. Chen Mo's eyes narrowed. That pond, it holds something I need. Then his voice shifted, calm yet firm. Do you want to become a martial artist? The old man blinked. Me? He hesitated. I heard that you have to strengthen your body before 16. I'm far past that age. Chen Mo smiled faintly. I said you can, then you can. The old man's eyes welled with emotion. He dropped to his knees. Then please, guide me. If I can study under you, I will remember this kindness for the rest of my life. But Chen Mo simply chuckled. You misunderstood something. With a single flick, he struck the corner of the table and instantly cut it in half. One way to practice is by breaking your limits. Strength decides everything, not age. The old man fell to the floor in shock. Inner core martial artist, a blade made of spirit energy, cutting like butter. Forgive me, I was blind. He kowtowed again. Please accept my apology. Chen Mo's voice softened. Right now, you're not enough to be my disciple, but you can serve as a helper, for now. I understand, the old man said, bowing once more. Chen Mo turned to leave. In a few days, I'll return and teach you a technique. Until then, do as you wish. Disciple understands master's words, the old man said reverently. Back at home, Chen Mo stood calmly before the strange, glowing stone he brought back. With a swift motion, he shouted, Open! The rock shattered into glowing fragments, revealing 5 energy stones swirling with power. He extended his hand and the stones levitated, rotating in a precise pattern. Chi-gathering array. Formation. Suddenly, they slammed into the ground, anchoring themselves like nodes of power. With this array, Chen Mo smirked confidently, my cultivation speed will be much faster. Meanwhile, in a luxurious house bathed in golden sunlight, Yan Qingcheng stood gracefully before the window, her long violet hair cascading down her back like flowing silk, gazing thoughtfully at the view beyond. A voice gently broke the silence behind her. "Mistress, the family meeting is over," Sang Sang said cautiously. "They've decided to officially cancel your marriage arrangement with Chen Mo. You and young Master Chen." Yan Qingcheng turned sharply, her eyes glinting like sharpened jade. "The Yan family thinks they can decide my future without my consent?" she said coldly, her tone dripping with quiet fury. "Yan Qingcheng's destiny lies only in my own hands. No one else can choose for me." Sang Sang hesitated, alarmed. "Mistress, openly defying the family's decision like this? It's risky." Yan Qingcheng smiled faintly, confidence radiating from her every move. "If it's just a few thugs causing trouble, I trust you're more than capable. And if it's someone stronger, don't we have an inner core martial artist waiting on standby?" Still unsure, Sang Sang voiced the doubts that had lingered in both their minds. "But, Mistress, will young Master Chen even help us after he hears about the cancelled engagement?" Yan Qingcheng turned again, the golden sunlight catching her graceful profile as a playful smirk tugged at her lips. "Whether he wants to or not, Chen Mo doesn't have a choice." She paused, her gaze softening slightly as she thought privately. "The Yan family and Li family might think they can break our engagement and push him towards Anqiwei. But I, Yan Qingcheng, won't allow anyone to take what belongs to me. Chen Mo, I'm coming for you myself." And thus, Chen Mo's real fiancée and the most beautiful girl in the capital is on her way. Back in Chen Mo's apartment, a radiant golden glow spread across the city like a silent storm, converging into one focused point: Chen Mo. Suspended in midair, he sat cross-legged at the center of his chi-gathering array. Spiritual energy circled him like a vortex, flaring with intensity. First stage of the energy condensation realm, external spirit energy control. His voice was calm, but his eyes were laser-focused. Flames flickered from his fingertips as he steadied his breath. "This array accelerated my progress by 2 days. At this pace, I'll reach stage 2 and craft spirit swords in 10. He exhaled slowly. "But it's pointless without a solid base. No shortcuts. Build it clean, build it strong." Sunlight bathed the room. He flipped through a cultivation manual, unreadable as ever. "Report cards drop tomorrow, and the Yan family calls off the engagement." He smirked. "Last lifetime, I kept my head down and got humiliated. This time? Nah. I'll be watching the fireworks." Right on cue, his phone lit up. He answered casually. "Jiang Yao? This early? Something up?" "Nope," she said cheerfully. "My family's restaurant opens today. Mom and Dad said to invite classmates. First meal's on us." She added a little shyly. "It's just a small home-style spot, so I didn't invite Zheng Yuan Hao or An Kiwei. I didn't want to cause you trouble." Chen Mo smiled. "What time?" 11:30. I'll send you the location. Don't forget, okay? Wouldn't miss it," he replied, grin widening. At 11:30 a.m., the Jade restaurant shimmered under the sunlight, freshly decorated and full of chatter. Jiang Yao stood at the entrance, waving brightly. "Big brother Chen Mo, last one to show up." From behind her, her mother chuckled. "So this is the Chen Mo she keeps talking about." Chen Mo bowed slightly. "Auntie, I wish your business booming success." Jiang Yao blushed, then nudged her mom toward the kitchen. "Mom, the guests are starving. Go cook already." As everyone laughed, Chen Mo quietly slipped a red packet onto the counter. She wouldn't take it directly, so this'll do. "Chen Mo, sit anywhere." Jiang Yao called out, but not all eyes were friendly. "Shh, that trash really thinks he can just walk up next to Jiang Yao?" One student muttered. "A love rival," another hissed, face sour. Around the room, jealous thoughts simmered under fake smiles. Before it could get awkward, Zhao Gong waved from a nearby table. "Chen Mo, over here. All right." Chen Mo nodded coolly as if unaware that half the room was ready to throw hands with their eyes. Jiang Yao beamed at the table. "Continue without me. I'm going to check on the food." Before she could leave, Wang Lei spoke up. "Come on, Jiang Yao. Don't run around. Stay and chat with us a bit." She hesitated, then nodded. "All right, I'll sit with you all for a while." Zhao Gang stood up, offering his seat with a grin. "Jiang Yao, take mine. I'll sit over there." "Thanks, Zhao Gang!" she said cheerfully as she sat beside Chen Mo. Zhao Gang leaned toward Chen Mo with a smug whisper. "You owe me one for that prime seat assist." Chen Mo replied without looking at him, voice flat. "Didn't ask for it." Meanwhile, the jealous students watching were practically seething. Two of them leaned in, scheming. "Zhou Hao, today's her family's big opening. You brought a gift, right?" Zhou Hao smirked. "Of course. That money plant by the entrance? That's mine." They both turned toward Chen Mo with smug eyes. "Chen Mo, you didn't show up empty-handed, did you?" The words dripped with sarcasm. The trap was set. Zhou Hao turned to Chen Mo, smirking like he'd already won. "Chen Mo, you didn't come empty-handed, did you? Or was it just a red packet? What was in it? $10? 20? Laughter erupted around the table. A few classmates even clinked their chopsticks mockingly. Zhao Gang leaned in, nudging him. "Come on, Chen Mo, say something, man." But Chen Mo remained silent, calmly sipping his drink, eyes unreadable. Then Jiang Yao stood up with a sudden slam of her palms on the table. "That's enough. I'm thankful to anyone who brought a gift, and just as thankful to anyone who showed up. So shut it. It ends here." The room fell quiet, but some of the mockers gritted their teeth, whispering under their breath, "Needs a girl to defend him? Pathetic. Trash stays trash." Chenmo's eyes flickered. He finally spoke, voice low but razor sharp. "Zhou Hao, are you picking a fight because you think I'm poor?" Zhou Hao's grin stretched wider, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Why would I waste time on someone beneath me?" "Zhou Hao!" Zhang Yao snapped. "Keep this up, and you can take your gift and leave." Zhou Hao chuckled, holding up his hands. All right, don't get mad, I was just kidding." But inside, bitterness festered. "Shh, go ahead and smile now. Once I win her over, let's see who's still laughing." Chenmo's fingers curled under the table, a faint current crackling across his skin. He dares to harbor thoughts like that toward her? "Zhou Hao, you'd be better off vanishing quietly." Just then, Zhang Yao's mother returned from the kitchen holding something in her hand. "Zhang Yao, whose red packet is this?" Zhang Yao stepped closer. "Let me see." Her eyes widened. "This much?" Gasps rippled through the group. "That's way more than I expected. Whose is it?" Zhang Yao turned to Chenmo, her expression full of realization. "Big brother Chenmo, was this from you?" Chenmo let out a quiet breath and dispersed the energy around his fingers. "It's just a small gift." He smiled humbly. Zhang Yao tried handing it back, a little flustered. "I appreciate your heart, really, but please, take it back. My mom says it's too much." Chenmo simply nodded. "All right." His smile stayed soft, but his eyes were sharp with clarity. With the tension gone, Zhang Yao's mother clapped her hands cheerfully. "Enough talking. The food's ready. Come eat while it's hot." Plates rolled out one after another, steam rising and dishes gleaming under warm lights. The room filled with the clatter of chopsticks and happy chatter. Zhang chuckled, nudging the others. "And here I thought Chenmo didn't bring anything." The table fell silent again. Even Zhou Hao's friends dropped their smug looks. Zhou Hao clenched his fists, knuckles pale. He planned this. He knew exactly what he was doing. He abruptly stood up. "I'm going to the restroom." As he walked away, footsteps echoing, whispers followed. Is he embarrassed? Just let it go, we're all classmates. Focus on the food. This stuff is amazing. Chenmo stayed quiet, chewing slowly, but his eyes narrowed. "I know exactly what you're doing, Zhou Hao." Cut to Zhou Hao, hunched inside a restroom stall, eyes twitching as he furiously dialed someone on his phone. He's really calling for backup to save face. Pathetic. The restaurant buzzed with laughter and excited chatter. "Yum, yum," someone shouted mid-bite, followed by bursts of praise. "This is amazing. Can I come here for free every day?" Dishes disappeared quickly, replaced by even more steaming plates. The atmosphere was pure celebration. Then, the front door slammed open. A bald man covered in tattoos stomped in, flanked by a gang of rough-looking thugs with bad attitudes and worse fashion. "Where's the owner?" he bellowed, eyes scanning the room like a wolf entering a chicken coop. Across the restaurant, Zhou Hao lifted his chopsticks with a smug little smile, silently gloating. Zhang Yao stepped forward, keeping her voice polite but firm. "Our restaurant is only serving guests with invitations today. Maybe you'd be more comfortable elsewhere." But the thugs weren't there for food. "Wow, look at this little beauty," one of them said with a sleazy grin. "Why don't you come chat with us, sweetheart?" One of them reached out and grabbed Zhang Yao's arm, their faces full of mocking laughter. Before she could react, her mother stepped in, voice sharp. "Who are you? What do you want?" The bald man sneered. "You the owner?" She nodded. He turned to his men, still grinning. "Brothers, let her know what we're here for." One thug lit a cigarette and leaned in. "You really don't know who runs this street?" He jabbed a thumb toward the bald man. "This street belongs to brother here." Zhang Hu gave a smug shrug, then pointed at himself. "That's me. And if you want to keep doing business around here, you follow my rules." Zhang Hu's rules. Zhang Yao's father stepped up beside his wife. "What are you asking for?" Zhang Hu gave a fake casual smile. 100 grand a year. That buys you peace and quiet. "Are you insane?" Zhang Yao's mother snapped. "This is a legit business, not some gangster movie. Dream on." Zhang Hu leaned back, taking a slow puff. His men quietly blocked the exits. "So, you're refusing?" Her husband tried to reason. "We're not saying no, but we don't have that kind of money right now." "Cut the nonsense," one of the goons barked. "You paying or not?" Zhang Yao's mother shoved her husband behind her. "Pay my ass. Protection fees. What is this, Saturday night TV?" Zhang Hu's eyes narrowed. "Ajie, call the boys." The lackey was already grinning as he pulled out his phone. "Say less." Meanwhile, Zhang Yao's brave classmates, already packing up. "I have something urgent at home." "My dad said not to stay out too late." Zhang Yao, still trying to stay polite, nodded. "It's all right. Get home safe." But then, a furious voice snapped through the restaurant. "Cowards!" stormed forward, eyes blazing. "Zhang Yao's family is in trouble, and you're all running faster than rabbits? If you leave now, don't ever say you know me again." Zhang Yao blinked in surprise. "Zhou Hao!" He placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "I know these people. Let me handle it. I promise. They won't cause trouble for your family." Her eyes softened. "Really? Thank you so much." But then he turned, venom back in his voice as he faced Chen Ma. "I'm not like some people who hide behind red packets and act tough in silence, scared someone might call them out." Chen Mo stopped mid-step, eyes glowing cold. His voice was calm but sharp as a blade. Say another word, and I'll kill you. The temperature dropped. Flames surged behind Chenmo, his aura roaring to life. The pressure slammed into the room like a crashing wave. Everyone froze. Even the thugs felt it. One of them whispered, backing away slowly. That kid? He's not normal. Zhang Hu's cigarette twitched in his mouth, hands trembling. Even Zhou Hao stood rooted, the fire in his eyes replaced by fear. What is this pressure? It's like standing before a monster. As the door swung open, 3 punks strutted in like they were auditioning for a gang-themed music video. Bat in hand, chains clinking, piercings gleaming, and enough ego to choke the room. One of them shouted, "Brother Hu, what's the situation?" Hu took a long drag from his cigarette and exhaled slowly. "Someone doesn't want to follow the rules," he said casually. "So tell me, what should we do?" The punk with a yellow mohawk grinned like he'd just been handed dessert. "Isn't that obvious?" Zhang Yao's parents looked around, confused and alarmed. "What?" her father asked nervously. Before anyone could act, a voice cut through the rising tension. "Wait!" Step forward like some kind of hero. "Brother Hu, this restaurant belongs to my classmate's family. Just give me some face, all right?" Zhang Hu raised an eyebrow, then slowly stood and approached. "Zhou Hao? From the Zhou family, the pork factory, right?" Zhou Hao smiled awkwardly, trying to seem confident. "Yes, that's us. Please, Brother Hu, let's not cause trouble." Smash! Zhou Hao's head snapped sideways as Zhang Hu slapped him across the face. "Give you face? Are you even worthy? Even your old man wouldn't dare say that to me." The restaurant owner's wife rushed in, furious. "He's just a student. If you want to fight, fight me." Zhou Hao stumbled back, holding his cheek, still dazed. "Zhang Hu, what the hell? We had a deal. You said you'd leave if I stepped up." He froze the moment he heard himself say it, realizing too late that he just said the quiet part out loud. The entire room exploded in shock. "Wait, what deal? Did he just say they had an agreement? Zhou Hao brought Zhang Hu here? He was working with them the whole time?" Whispers turned to disgusted stares. Zhang Yao looked at him like a stranger. "Zhou Hao, you're despicable." Zhou Hao's face turned pale. "What the hell did I just say?" Zhang Hu, totally unfazed, leaned back and smirked. "Yeah, I agreed. So what? I changed my mind. What are you going to do about it?" Zhou Hao, desperate and cornered, tried to escape with what little pride he had left. "Sorry, Brother Hu, I'll leave now. I'll fuck off." He turned and stomped away, mumbling curses under his breath. Whatever. You're all screwed anyway. Let's see how tough you act when things get real. Zhang Hu's grin turned unhinged. "All right, boys, smash this place to pieces." Chaos erupted. Tables flipped, wood splintered, plates shattered. Zhang Hu's thugs tore into the restaurant like animals let loose. Guests screamed. Some tried to hide, others froze in place. Zhang Yao stood frozen, watching her family's dream crumble around her. "This place, everything we built." Then she clenched her fists. Her voice trembled, but her eyes were clear. "I want to change. I want to stand tall. I want to live as An Zhang Yao, with my head held high." She stepped forward. "Stop it!" But before she could go any further, a warm hand gently caught hers. She looked up. It was him, Chenmo. His voice was quiet, assured. "Let them. Don't worry. I'll make them repay 10 times the damage." As her eyes widened, he stepped forward, calm and composed, his aura simmering. "In my lowest moments in my last life, it was her who stayed by my side. This time I'll protect you." A single bootstep echoed, firm, unshaken. Then his voice rang out. "You should be done by now, right?" Zhang Hu turned slowly, eyes narrowing. "Who the hell are you? Tired of living? You dare interrupt my business?" The room fell silent again. Every eye turned toward the one person who hadn't moved an inch in fear. Stared back, voice calm and cool. "I'm someone you can't afford to offend." Zhang Hu burst into laughter, nearly doubling over. "Did you guys hear that? He said I can't afford to offend him." His gang cackled along, and even the crowd started whispering. "Is he serious? A high schooler saying that? He's lost his mind." But Chenmo stood there, calm as ever. "Compensate them 10 times the damage you caused and apologize. Do that and I'll spare every last one of you." Someone in the crowd shouted, panicked. "Chenmo, are you crazy? Just come back here." But the couple from Jade Restaurant stepped forward, eyes teary but resolute. "Chenmo stood up for us. We won't just hide. If it's money they want, I'll find a way." "Me too," Zhang Yao's father added. "I'll borrow if I have to." Meanwhile, Zhou Hao clenched his fists and grinned in the back. "This is perfect. Chenmo, you're finished. Even fate's helping me." Zhang Hu's smile faded into a snarl. "Tell me, who are you counting on? You got backup coming?" Chenmo's eyes didn't waver. "I'm only counting on myself. That did it." Zhang Hu's face twisted in fury. "Get him!" His goons surged forward, weapons raised. Zhang Yao's mother screamed, "Stop! I'll pay! Just don't hurt anyone!" Zhang Hu barked back. "Too late for that now." Chenmo moved. One step. That's all it took. Then, everything blurred. He dashed in, fists flying with brutal efficiency. Each blow landed with bone-cracking precision. Elbows, palms, knees. Every move clean, controlled, and devastating. Goons dropped one by one, groaning, dazed, and sprawled across the restaurant floor like scattered trash bags. The restaurant fell silent. Even the clinking of cutlery stopped. Zhang Yao gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Zhao Gang was the first to speak. "Yo, Chenmo, That was insane. You're actually strong? Zhou Hao blinked in disbelief. All color drained from his face. What the hell just happened? That's Chen Mo? But Jiang Hu wasn't finished. He rose shakily, clutching his ribs. You're strong, kid, I'll give you that, but let's see you stop a bullet. Chen Mo's eyes narrowed. I'm still only at the first stage of energy condensation. A gun is still a threat. Jiang Hu reached for his waist. Too slow. Chen Mo was already in front of him. He launched a punch straight into Jiang Hu's chest. The thug flew backward and collapsed hard onto the floor, breath knocked out of him. He groaned, barely able to lift his head. You dare hit me. Chen Mo walked over and drove a kick straight into his ribs. Jiang Hu slammed into the wall and slumped, coughing violently. He tried to speak, but another cough choked his words. Chen Mo approached slowly, eyes like steel. Then he raised his foot and pressed it firmly onto Jiang Hu's head. His voice dropped to a deadly whisper. You tried to pull a gun on me? I should end you right now. Big brother, please. Jiang Hu sobbed, snot and tears dripping. I wasn't going to shoot. I don't even have a gun. I just wanted to scare you. Chen Mo didn't blink. Pay 10 times the damages. Now. Jiang Hu nodded frantically. Yes, I'll pay 10 times. Apologize to them. I will. I'll get on my knees if I have to. Chen Mo removed his boot. His gaze stayed cold. Then crawl over and apologize right now. Jiang Hu, face swollen and trembling, dropped to his knees. His voice cracked with desperation. Young sister, please, show mercy. I'll compensate your family for all the damages. Standing tall beside Chen Mo, Jiang Yao remained composed. Apologize to my parents and promise you'll never show your face here again. Jiang Hu collapsed into a full kowtow. I, Jiang Hu, had eyes but failed to see. I was blind. I sincerely apologize. He slammed his forehead to the floor, over and over. I swear, my people will never cause trouble here again. I guarantee your family's safety. After a long moment, Zhang Yao's mother stepped forward, her tone calm and firm. Enough. Forget the tenfold compensation. Just repay what you damaged and don't come back. Jiang Hu looked up, eyes pleading. Young sister, can we leave now? Jiang Yao nodded quietly. Go. Jiang Hu let out a breath of pure relief. Thank you. He scrambled up, motioning frantically to his thugs. Move, now. As they fled, beaten and humiliated, Chen Mo turned to Jiang Yao, his tone soft. I have other matters to handle. Farewell. He gave a small, reassuring smile. If anything happens again, just call me. Jiang Yao smiled back, the tension in her eyes easing. Okay. Later that day, inside the grand halls of the Jin family estate, light streamed through carved lattice windows, casting golden warmth over polished floors and elegant furnishings. Jin Zongrun stepped forward and bowed. I am Jin Zongrun. Greetings, Master Chen. Chen Mo sat casually in the host seat, unbothered. No need for formalities, Senior Jin. Let's just speak directly. From across the room, Paiyun watched, her eyes narrowing. Grandfather invited him here, and he just takes the main seat like he owns the place? No manners at all. A servant approached with great care. Master Chen, please enjoy our finest Da Hong Pao tea. Chen Mo didn't look at it. That's unnecessary. Just tell me why I'm here. Paiyun bit back a frown. Didn't even glance at the tea. How arrogant can one person be? Jin Zhongrun gave a soft chuckle. Since you're direct, I'll be the same. First, thank you. The talisman you gave my granddaughter cured my wife. She's well now, for the first time in years. Chen Mo waved it off. That was business. We don't owe each other anything. So what else? Zhongrun hesitated, then bowed slightly. I want to ask if you can heal me. Chen Mo's eyes sharpened. So that's your true reason for calling me here? Yes, Zhongrun admitted. Forgive me for not being upfront. Chen Mo leaned back in his seat, eyes half-lidded. Throw a punch toward me, full strength. Zhongrun blinked. Excuse me? Don't worry, I'll be fine. Just show me your real strength. With a deep breath, the old master channeled his inner force. Flames of energy surged around him, his aura crackling with might. He threw a punch forward. The air split with its force, slicing through like a cannonball. Chen Mo didn't move. He watched closely, studying every detail. Inner realm martial artist, strong foundation. But that instability, he spoke clearly. You can be cured with a fortification pill. Zhongrun's eyes lit up, flooded with hope. No doctor has ever given me a real diagnosis. If you can truly cure me, Master Chen, I'll offer you half of the Jin family's assets. Grandfather, Paiyun gasped. He didn't even inspect you, just one look and a guess? Isn't that careless? But Chen Mo stayed calm. It's not an illness. Your technique is flawed. Residue has built up in your meridians, and the internal injury you suffered in your youth, that's the root of all your pain. Zhongrun froze. His shoulders trembled, and his face slowly shifted from disbelief to awe. Yes, that's it. Every word is true. Master Chen, you're truly remarkable. Chen Mo nodded once. But if you want to be completely cured, you'll need to stop cultivating. Otherwise, the pain will return. Are you prepared for that? The room fell into silence. Jin Zhongrun staggered back slightly, eyes wide in disbelief. Give up on cultivating? He echoed, stunned. Isn't that the same as taking my life away? The words hit harder than any blow. But I can't take the torture anymore. His hand clenched slightly. His voice dropped. Across from him, Chen Mo remained silent, eyes steady. But deep down he thought, would anyone truly be willing to return to an ordinary life after tasting the miracles of cultivation? Payun stepped forward. I'm 72 now. I don't have long left. The family assets have grown well. I've done enough. Zhongrun looked back at Chen Mo, honesty cutting through his expression. I only stumbled upon that incomplete cultivation technique by pure chance, but it built everything we have. A bittersweet smile crept up. I should be content. Then, without hesitation, he bowed. Deep, respectful, final. Master Chen, I'm willing to give it all up. My only hope, please cure me. Chen Mo studied him like a hawk, calm but calculating. All right, but forget the offer about your family assets. I'm not interested in that. Just give me $1 million. Send someone to bring it over in a few days. Payun blinked, confused. Why wait? Can't we do it now? Gave a subtle nod. Fortification pills aren't rare, he said casually, but inside he was already scheming. But I need to prepare the right herbs. That takes time. And the main problem is, I'm broke. Zhongrun, back to business, nodded firmly. May I know which herbs you need? I'll send someone right away. Chen Mo handed over the list without missing a beat. These, I need them. But it wasn't the exact list. It was double the amount. Half for Zhongrun, half for himself. Zhongrun furrowed his brows as he read. Even if they're rare, they're not impossible to find. Just give me 2 days. Nodded, cool as ice. Call me when it's done. A beat passed. Then out of nowhere. Senior Jin, how much do you know about cultivation realms? And Zhongrun scratched his head, a little embarrassed. Honestly, not much. The incomplete technique I stumbled on let me cultivate, but I'm nothing compared to those ancient sects with real legacies. Chen Mo's gaze sharpened. Ancient sects? In this country? There are rumors, Zhongrun replied. No one knows exactly where they are, but they've existed for generations. Chen Mo folded his arms, thoughts racing. Perhaps the Li family has ties to those sects. Then he said it bluntly. Tell me about the martial path, the realms. The air seemed to tense as Jin straightened up. The martial path is divided into 4 realms: outer realm, inner realm, transformation realm, divine realm. And the first 3, he added, each have 3 stages: initial, advanced, and peak. Chen Mo's eyes narrowed. Those who reach the transformation realm are known as grandmasters, Jin continued. They're rare, powerful, and rule over great clans. Total bosses. Chen Mo leaned forward slightly, voice low. What about the divine realm? Jin hesitated. None have appeared in the last century. It's said the divine realm is the final step, a level where a person stops being just human. Chen smirked. And you? What realm are you at? Puffed up a bit. This advanced stage inner realm. Over the years, I've rarely been matched. But Chen Mo barely reacted. He muttered under his breath, I should be near the peak of the inner realm now, just a step away from transformation. But that's only energy-wise. If it's about strength, I don't fear grandmasters. His eyes flashed with quiet fire. But a divine realm martial artist, that's a different story. If I run into one of those, I'd be in danger. I have to level up, fast. The next day, as morning sunlight spilled across the gates of No. 1 High School in Chaisang, Chen Mo walked in like a man on a mission. Today's the day, he thought, sharp as a blade. The day I take back my report card, and the day the Yan family breaks off the engagement. His coat fluttered behind him like it had its own aura. Every step was calculated. If you dare treat me like you did before, he muttered, eyes cold, then you don't expect me to be merciful. Inside, Class 6 was buzzing. Laughter, small talk, plans for winter break. Then Chen Mo walked in. Instant silence. Lin Tao, golden retriever energy but with a bite, sneered. Oh, Chen Mo? You didn't even take the test. How can you still be shameless enough to come for your report card? Chen Mo didn't flinch. He sat down. No comeback. No glance. Just silence. And it hit harder than a slap. Across the room, heads turned. Big brother Chen Mo, he suddenly became quiet and attractive. Even Kiwe, always composed, looked over, eyes tightening. No words, but plenty of fire. In the shadows, Yona scoffed. And Kiwe's the only one worthy of my attention. Chen Mo, he's just trash. Trash is about to take out the whole dump. All right, quiet down. Class supervisor Wang Liang entered, voice slicing through the classroom chaos like a ninja throwing star. I'm handing out the report cards. The class simmered instantly, anticipation buzzing like an overheated phone. Yang Song, good job. You've improved. Yang Song grinned like he just won an Oscar. Zhao Gang, your mark slipped. Buckle up next time. Zhao Gang winced, nodding with awkward determination. Then came the star names. On Kiwe, Wang Liang smiled warmly. Second in class, 9th overall. You climbed another spot. Well done. Kiwe took her report elegantly, cool as always. The next name drew excited whispers. Zheng Yuanhao, the teacher practically glowed. First in class, 3rd in the entire school. Aimed to be No. 1 across the board before graduation. Gasps rippled around him like he just flexed a diamond Rolex. And then an icy chill swept the room as Miss Wang's expression hardened into stone. Chen Mo, 1st in class, and 1st in the entire school. From the bottom, the air froze solid. She slammed his paper down dramatically. You're officially the first to submit a blank paper since this school was founded. The room exploded into laughter. Ha ha! 1st place, twice! From the back, baby! Class monitor. shot up like she had springs in her chair. Chen Mo is our class's biggest embarrassment. He's dragging down the class average. But Chen Mo remained utterly chill, raising his gaze slowly. You're really annoying. Could you shut up? Shuli snapped instantly, like a firecracker. What? Say that again if you dare. Chen Mo stared her down, completely flat. You're really annoying. Instantly, Shuli shifted into full drama queen mode. Teacher, Chen Mo's bullying me. Wang Ling sighed, exhausted. Chen Mo, maybe apologize, and Chen Mo smoothly cut in, voice firm and respectful. Miss Wang, I haven't done anything wrong. I had reasons for skipping the exam. He rose confidently, gaze sharp. Give me another chance, and my results won't be worse than the class monitors. Lin Tao nearly choked on air. Ha! He thinks he's better than Shuli? I'm not hearing things, am I? Class supervisor Wang Ling adjusted her glasses sharply, trying to restore order amid rising tension. Chen Mo, it's obviously impossible to redo the midterms just for you. However, she produced a stack of papers dramatically. I have a sample test from Imperial Hill High School. Every student instantly leaned forward, hooked. Chen Mo, you'll compete against Zheng Shuli in front of everyone. Loser apologizes and this nonsense ends here. Understood? A wave of excited whispers rippled instantly. Shuli smirked arrogantly, crossing her arms like she already wore a victory crown. Chen Mo, do you dare? Her voice dripped mockery. Apologize now to spare yourself the embarrassment. But Chen Mo didn't even twitch. There's nothing in this world I dare not do. Mic drop again, without needing an actual mic. Wang Ling clapped once sharply. Everyone step back, quiet down. 1 hour, starting now. Test papers hit desks with military precision, pens launching into action. Shuli's brows immediately twisted into a knot. The test was brutal. Yet across from her, Chen Mo sat utterly relaxed, alarmingly chill. Why is he so calm? Someone muttered anxiously. He's bluffing, probably guessing randomly. Another sneered. But Zhang Yao instantly fired back, eyes glowing like Chen Mo's personal fan club president. No way! Big brother Chen Mo definitely knows his stuff. In the back, An Qiwei watched nervously, conflicted, while Yuan back confidently, smirking like the ending was already obvious. Chen Mo's doomed for sure. Chen Mo gently placed his pen down, casually finished way ahead of schedule, and stood up. Miss Wang, how long is winter break? Caught completely off guard, the teacher blinked rapidly. Tomorrow until the 16th of next month. Chen Mo nodded calmly, turning away like it was just another casual Friday. All right. Instantly, Shuli jumped up, her anger ignited. Hold it. You think you can leave after guessing? Apologize! Chen Mo paused briefly, voice flat and utterly confident. I've finished. You can have a look yourself. Zheng Shuli and Supervisor Wang Ling stared at Chen Mo's test paper like it might spontaneously combust. He's done? Shuli muttered, eyes wide like she just witnessed a magic trick. Wang picked up the sheet with shaky hands, almost dropping it. Correct, everything's correct, she whispered, voice trembling. Then louder, like someone just discovered alien life. He finished all 100 questions and didn't make a single mistake. The blonde loudmouth trembled visibly, her confidence evaporating. What? How is that even possible? Beside them, Zhang Yao puffed up proudly, beaming like a fangirl. Told you. Big brother Chen Mo is unbeatable. Shuli grabbed the paper, staggered backward, eyes spinning like buffering videos. Impossible, she croaked, sitting down slowly like a deflated balloon. If Chen Mo is trash, she whispered in shock, reality hitting harder than a truck, then I'm worse than trash? With a slight smirk tugging at his lips, Chen Mo turned his back to the stunned classroom and dropped his final line with casual superiority. My ability isn't something ordinary people like you could understand. He stepped out smoothly, victorious, until the universe decided he'd had enough cool moments for the day. From nowhere, a shrill voice boomed. Chen Mo, we want to break off the engagement. He froze. Again louder. Chen Mo, we want to break off the engagement. And louder still, as if reality glitched. Chen Mo, we want to break off the engagement. A full squad of aunties appeared, dancing and chanting with fans like a flash mob from hell. Chen Mo nearly tripped from sheer disbelief. Honestly, he muttered darkly, I'd rather face 20 grandmasters than deal with this. Before he could react further, a hand dramatically shot up, palm facing out like an enthusiastic crossing guard. Stop! Chen Mo squinted. Who are you? A random guy swaggered forward dramatically. My father's grandfather is my cousin, sister Qing Cheng's father's grandfather's nephew's cousin. He puffed up proudly. I'm representing the Yan family and my cousin's sister Qing Cheng to officially break off the engagement. Chen Mo stood there, momentarily speechless. This wasn't in the original timeline. Has history changed because of my rebirth? Now things had genuinely gotten interesting. And you are? Chen Mo asked dryly. Yan Fei. You can call me Young Master Fei. The guy struck a dramatic pose straight out of a low-budget drama. Yan Fei waved like a departing celebrity. All right, I've passed the message. This young master has other business. Don't beg me to stay. The crowd behind him, waving bundles of cash, cheered enthusiastically. Call us again if you have more jobs like this, young brother. Chen Mo chuckled inwardly. The Yan family really sent a circus act to handle something this serious? But before he could get far, a familiar voice called out desperately. Wait! He turned slowly. She ran over, breathless. Do you need something? He asked flatly. Kiwei froze. Why is he suddenly colder than ice? He never spoke to me like this before. My mom asked where you've been. She's worried. Why haven't you come home? Chenmo glanced away casually. I rented a house. I won't trouble your family anymore. Bye. Kiwei shouted after him, confused and hurt. What do you mean? He kept walking, calm and detached. Behind him, and Kiwei stood still, heart aching softly. Chenmo, why have you changed so much? But unnoticed by either, a pair of eyes watched from behind a nearby pillar. Yuan had seen everything unfold. His fists tightened, jealousy blazing through his eyes like wildfire. Chenmo, he muttered under his breath, voice dripping venom. You've officially become a threat. Don't blame me for what happens next. Will Yuanhao dare move against Chenmo? What's his next play? We'll find out soon enough. Meanwhile, back at the Yan family headquarters, Yan Fei lounged lazily on the couch, sipping tea like he'd just conquered the world. Across from him, an elder frowned deeply, completely baffled. Young Master Fei, I really don't understand why you did that. Yan Fei casually blew on his tea, answering smoothly. Truthfully, I don't even know what the Yan family truly wants from Chenmo either. We don't actually intend to break off the engagement. That whole show was purely for the Li family. He closed his eyes slightly, smirking confidently. Besides, Chenmo is smart enough to understand the Yan family's intentions. At that same moment, Chenmo was calmly strolling through the city streets, eyes sharp and thoughts sharper. The Yan family clearly sees value in my identity as an inner realm martial artist, he mused calmly. They're keeping face with the Li family, playing a complicated game, he narrowed his eyes slightly. But the Li family is not stupid either. They'll strike back for sure. And indeed, back at the Li family headquarters, the air was thick with cold calculation. Li Liwen stood upright, addressing his father, the patriarch, with solemn urgency. The old patriarch sat quietly, eyes clouded with regret and frustration. If I had valued familial bonds earlier, perhaps our Li family would have another monstrous genius like Li Zhe by now. His gaze sharpened into a ruthless glare. The Yan family's behavior proves it. Chenmo's potential is far more dangerous than we anticipated. If we let him rise, it'll be our downfall. He slammed his cane sharply against the floor. Forget the Yan family's games. Crush Chenmo immediately, starting with Rose Group and his entire foundation. Tear it all down. Li Liwen bowed quickly, determined and fierce. Understood, I'll get it done immediately. As plots swirled in the shadows, Chenmo sat cross-legged at his rented house, calmly cultivating. Golden flames circled him gently, growing steadily brighter as his aura surged. Suddenly his phone vibrated, jolting him from meditation. His mother's stern face flashed on screen. He answered casually. Hey mom, what's up? Immediately, her sharp voice shot through the line. Stinking kid. Your Auntie May said you rented a house? When did you do that? Where'd you get the money? What trouble are you causing now? Chenmo chuckled lightly, totally unfazed. Mom, you know how capable your son is. Chill, there's nothing to worry about. But his mother wasn't convinced. Move back home immediately. I won't rest easy with you staying alone. Scratching his head, Chenmo smoothly replied, Mom, I'm learning from that mysterious old man. Staying with the An family wouldn't be convenient. Sorry, mysterious old man who definitely doesn't exist, he thought sheepishly. His mother sighed but didn't relent. Fine, but at least pay a proper visit to the An family. Auntie May is worried because she feels she hasn't been a good host. Chenmo's expression softened slightly. True, while Auntie May can be annoying, Uncle An has always treated me kindly. I owe him an explanation. Glancing at golden sunlight filtering through leaves, he smiled gently. All right, Mom, I'll handle it. Don't worry. Shortly afterward, Chenmo arrived at the elegant An family villa within Swallow Lake. He rang the doorbell and Kiyu opened the door, clearly startled and slightly shy. You actually came, Chenmo greeted casually. Hi, your mom invited me for lunch. She stepped aside awkwardly. Come in. From the kitchen, Auntie May's enthusiastic voice rang out. Chenmo, you're here. Kiwei, entertain Chenmo. Food's almost ready. The atmosphere turned immediately awkward. Chenmo lounged casually on the couch, while Kiwi stood stiffly beside him, thoughts burning with irritation. Even after changing so much, he's still got zero manners. She fumed inwardly. Still nothing compared to Zheng Yuanhao. But before she could silently rage any longer, Uncle An walked in, smiling warmly. Chenmo, good to see you. Instantly, Chenmo stood up with genuine respect. Hello, Uncle An. Kiwi's eyes widened in shock. Why is he suddenly so polite toward Dad, but acts completely rude to my mother? Uncle An greeted Chenmo with a warm, fatherly smile as he entered. How's your father doing these days? He asked casually. Chenmo replied respectfully, keeping his tone polite and sincere. Thank you for asking, Uncle An. He really wants to catch up with you too, but he's been buried in work lately. Uncle An chuckled, shaking his head knowingly. Your father's always been too stubborn. If he'd just accept some family help, he'd already have a powerful position by now. Chenmo gave a small, courteous smile. That's true, he agreed, carefully respectful. Soon enough, everyone settled around a dining table laden with delicious dishes, glistening under the warm lighting. Aunt May immediately broke the tense silence. Chenmo, why exactly did you rent your own place? Uncle An's eyes widened in surprise. Chenmo moved out? Aunt May crossed her arms, exasperated. You're so busy with work, you never notice anything around here. Uncle An laughed awkwardly, scratching his head. Ah, well, yes. Chenmo calmly set down his chopsticks, meeting Aunt May's eyes directly and steadily. Auntie, I've made my decision. Please don't bring it up again. Aunt May's brows knitted tighter. But before she could continue, Kiwei sharply interrupted. Chenmo, watch your tone. The atmosphere instantly iced over. Aunt May looked anxious, panic flickering in her eyes. This won't do. I have to smooth things over somehow. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, slicing through the awkward silence. Q jumped up quickly. That's probably Yaner. We agreed to attend a classmate's birthday. Excitedly, she hurried to open the door. Chan, Yaner, she greeted enthusiastically. Two girls stood at the door. Vibrant and bubbly, flashed a bright, playful hello. Beside her, Morong Yaner, cool yet gentle, quietly nodded. Hi. Kiwei frowned, slightly puzzled. Weren't we supposed to meet at the coffee shop? Why did you come here directly? Does anyone else know? Yang Chanshan waved dismissively. The others are waiting in the car. Plans changed, she said brightly, eyes sparkling. We're going camping first, then karaoke. Outside, several slick black cars waited, engines purring softly, looking straight out of a movie scene. Kiyu nodded quickly. Okay, just a sec, I'll grab my coat. As she rushed back inside, she shouted loudly, Mom, I'm going out with friends, not coming home for dinner. Mrs. An poked her head out instantly, wiping her hands hurriedly. Wait, take Chenmo along. I can't let a girl like you go out alone. Uncle N nodded enthusiastically, his voice warm and supportive. Chenmo, accompany Kiyu. Mrs. N gave Chenmo an encouraging look. Yes, Chenmo, think of it as doing your auntie a favor. Go enjoy yourself. Chenmo sighed inwardly, but maintained his usual composure. All right, I'll go. Kiyue puffed her cheeks slightly but turned around, tossing a quick, let's go then, over her shoulder. Outside, as they approached the waiting group, Chanchan narrowed her eyes suspiciously at Chenmo and whispered to Kiyu, Who's this guy? Kiyue shrugged casually. My dad's friend's son, he's studying here. As Chanchan's sharp gaze lingered distrustfully, a memory flashed through Chenmo's mind. Young Chanchan. Rich, arrogant, always stirring trouble back in school, always hanging on to basketball captain Zhang Xian. Next to her was Morong Yaner. Cold on the outside, but genuinely kind inside, someone who had quietly helped Chenmo through tough spots in the past. He hadn't heard much about Yaner after graduation. Chenmo trailed behind, hands lazily in his pockets, completely unfazed. I'd honestly prefer it if An Kiwei just ignored me, he sighed inwardly. As they reached the cars, Qianxian immediately wrapped herself around Zhang Xian's arm, shooting Chenmo a smug, mocking glance. Zhang Xian openly sneered, his voice deliberately loud. Well, look who it is. The legendary trash who handed in a blank test, Chenmo. Chenmo narrowed his eyes sharply, expression unreadable. That happened in our class. How'd a guy from class 2 find out so fast? Realization hit him immediately. Someone was deliberately spreading rumors. Zhang Yuanhao, arms arrogantly crossed, joined in with a mocking smile, sizing Chenmo up dismissively. Trying to chase after our school's beauty on Kiwi? Have you looked in a mirror lately? Yang Shanshan eagerly chimed in, voice dripping with disdain. Exactly! Zhang Yuanhao has a thing for her, and he's wealthy and influential. Who do you think you are to even dream about Kiyue? Chenmo slowly stepped forward, his aura sharp enough to slice steel. His voice was low but chillingly confident, silencing everyone instantly. And who do you all think you are? He asked quietly, his words landing like a punch. His next line dropped like a sledgehammer. Are any of you even worthy enough to speak to me like this? Zhang Shan stood tall, glaring down at Chenmo like a wannabe movie villain. Better apologize to Chen right now, he barked sharply. Maybe if you grovel enough, we'll consider forgiving you. Chenmo looked back at him, utterly calm, utterly bored. How about you kowtow and apologize to me right now, he replied coolly. Then perhaps I'll think about forgiving you. The crowd froze in collective shock. Zhang Xian's face twisted, veins practically dancing on his forehead. You cocky little punk. Need a lesson, huh? He roared. Fine, I'll teach you some manners. But before things escalated further, Keiwei quickly stepped between them, raising her voice. All right, enough. It's Qianshan's birthday. Then she turned to Chenmo, frustration clear on her face. Is it so hard for you to just back down? With your tiny frame, Zhang Shan would knock you out with one punch. Chenmo didn't flinch. He barely blinked. Meanwhile, Morong Yaner watched quietly from the side. Her gaze briefly met Chenmo's, causing an unexpected flutter in her heart. Such a strange look. It's like he's known me for years, she thought, a faint blush rising to her cheeks. Zhang Shan, desperate to save face after Kiyu's interruption, scoffed loudly. Fine, I'll give in Kiyu face and spare you this time. But he couldn't resist one final jab, mocking openly. But my car's too small, it can't fit someone like you. Find another ride. Following his lead, the other cars chimed in. No space here either. Full here too, a mocking voice added sarcastically. You're not seriously gonna walk, right? They clearly had space. They were just flexing petty egos. Inside one car, Ankiwei looked conflicted, but before she could decide, Yaner boldly spoke up. Chenmo, come squeeze in here! Kiwei immediately protested, shocked. Yaner, why invite him into our car? Qianqian leaned in, whispering mischievously. Yaner, you like him or something? Yaner blushed furiously, flustered. Stop it, we're classmates. I just don't want him totally humiliated. After a brief, tense standoff, the other cars reluctantly gave in. Rather than waste more time, Chenmo calmly hopped into one of them. The cars sped off. Inside, Xiyang grinned manically, gripping the wheel like a racing game addict. Watch me overtake them all, he shouted. The pink-haired girl beside him bounced excitedly, cheering him on. Big brother Xiyang is so cool. This is awesome. Meanwhile, Chenmo sat calmly in the back, utterly indifferent, like he was watching a boring movie he'd seen a dozen times. As they barreled through a tunnel, Xiyang's ego grew wilder. That stupid car's blocking me, he growled, aggressively flooring the gas pedal. Tires screeched dramatically. Xiyang swerved, and bam, slammed straight into the car ahead. He froze, face twisting with horror. My precious car. He scrambled out angrily, fists shaking. You dumbass, do you know how to fucking drive? It's illegal to stop here. Look, you wrecked my car. But the other driver calmly stepped out, unimpressed, calling over an older man, Mr. Chu. Mr. Chu, some kid drove recklessly and now he's accusing me of stopping illegally. Xiyang, totally unaware he'd poked the wrong bear, shouted defiantly. Inside the car, Mr. Chu Wenxiong puffed his cigar casually, replying without looking up. Daozi, forget it. Mr. Jin has urgent business with me. Don't waste time. Yes. Daozi quickly nodded, immediately backing off, but Xiyang wasn't ready to let go. Furious at being brushed off, he yelled arrogantly, Stop right there! You think you can leave without paying for my damages? Hearing the commotion, Zhang Xian approached with an irritated frown. Xiyang, what's going on? Xiyang angrily jabbed a finger at the other car. This guy stopped suddenly and made me rear-end him. Now he's trying to run. Zhang Xian's face darkened, authority flashing in his eyes. Then he's not going anywhere. Block their path, he commanded sharply. Immediately his followers formed a human blockade, trapping Mr. Chu's car. But inside the vehicle, Mr. Chu Wenxiong took another calm puff of his cigar, his eyes narrowing dangerously, voice cold and heavy with threat. Never thought I'd see the day when some clueless brats dared to bully me, Chu Wenxiong. Inside the car, a deep, gravelly voice answered calmly, Daozi, I'm getting down. The car door swung open dramatically, revealing a fierce-looking figure emerging like the final boss from a gangster movie. Zhang Shan's eyes widened like dinner plates. His voice cracked in panic. Madman Chu Wenxiong! Chu Wenxiong stepped out confidently, draped in a flashy, fur-lined coat, every bit the feared underground kingpin of Chaisang. His eyes narrowed at the young men, unimpressed. A brat like you knows my name? Chu snorted disdainfully. Who's your father? Zhang Xian visibly trembled, stammering quickly. My father's Zhang Gui. Hearing this, Chu gave a dismissive laugh, puffing smoke leisurely. So you're Zhang Gui's kid? I'll give your father face. You can scram. Instantly, Zhang Xian bowed deeply, nearly kissing his own shoes. Thank you, big brother Chu, for your mercy. But as Xiyang tried desperately to slip away unnoticed, Chu's icy voice sliced through the air like a blade. I said you can leave. Not him. The tension exploded like popcorn on high heat. Zhang Xian immediately pleaded desperately. Big brother Chu, you're a legend throughout Chaisang. Don't stoop to our level, please. But it was already too late. Chu Wenxiong's face turned cold as ice. Daozi, call the boys. Panic rising, Zhang Xian clasped his hands in frantic begging. Big brother Chu, please, just this once. Consider it as giving my father face. Chu Wenxiong sneered mockingly, cigar smoke curling around him ominously. Go home and ask your father himself if he dares to request face from me. Zhang Xian's heart dropped faster than his grades, and his thoughts racing anxiously. Chu Wenxiong, the boss of Chaisang's Underworld, rumored to have even bigger backers. My family's peanuts compared to him. What am I gonna do? Chu leaned back with a sinister grin, his next words dropping like grenades. He can leave, he said casually, nodding at Zhang Xian. But let those two young girls stay and drink with me to ease my boredom. Yaner and Anqiu froze instantly, faces turning white as ghosts. No one dared step forward. Seeing their hesitation, Chu Wenxiong impatiently waved his hand, voice cold and ruthless. Grab that kid and those girls, beat up the rest, teach them a proper lesson. Xiyang immediately dropped to his knees, begging uselessly, his voice trembling like an old washing machine. The thugs swiftly encircled them, grinning maliciously like wolves cornering prey. But just then, a clear, confident tap echoed sharply across the pavement. All eyes snapped toward the sound. Stepping forward, utterly calm and composed, Chenmo! Hands in his pockets, he stood protectively in front of the girls, voice lazy yet effortlessly dominant. They're under my protection. Chu Wenxiong's eyes narrowed dangerously, his aura pressing like a heavy storm cloud. Who the hell are you? He demanded coldly, towering behind his men. Chen Mo shrugged, smirking lazily, his tone infuriatingly casual. I'm someone you can't afford to offend. Chu Wensheng paused, then let out a mocking laugh that echoed arrogantly around them. Nearby, An Qiwei's forehead creased anxiously, her thoughts racing irritably. Why does this idiot always jump into the spotlight? Does he enjoy trouble? Yenner's gaze locked onto Chen Mo, heart pounding slightly, her mind whispering nervously. Chen Mo, how are you planning to handle this? Chu Wensheng's humor vanished instantly, replaced by deadly seriousness. Seems you really don't respect me, he growled, losing patience. Now, who are you, really? Chen Mo barely blinked, voice mocking and entirely fearless. Didn't you hear me clearly? I'm someone you can't afford to offend. Are you deaf, perhaps? Everyone around twitched in disbelief at his daring words. Whispers exploded around them. Is he suicidal? He actually dared provoke Chu Wensheng directly? Does he want to become pavement decoration? Chu Wensheng's face turned purple, veins popping with fury. With a roar of barely contained rage, he thrust his finger forward and bellowed furiously. Get him! Two goons lunged forward, fists flying wildly. With casual ease, Chen Mo swung his arms just twice, sending both flying like discount superheroes, landing hard on the pavement. Chu's eyes narrowed dangerously. No wonder this brat was so cocky, he growled impatiently, waving his hand dismissively. All of you, attack together! A dozen men charged forward like stampeding bulls, shouting furiously, Die! But before a single punch connected, a blur of movement, limbs twisted awkwardly, bodies sailed dramatically through the air, groans filled the scene like a bad orchestra. My ribs! My hand! Not my precious jewels! Chu Wensheng froze mid-puff, cigar dangling awkwardly from his lips, sweat trailing down his temples. Staring blankly at the carnage, he muttered in disbelief. My guys aren't exactly pushovers, but they couldn't even last 1 minute. As the dust cleared, Chen Mo stood completely unharmed, posture casually perfect, not even a single wrinkle in his clothes, as if he'd just returned from a leisurely stroll. Whispers buzzed through the shocked crowd. Chen Mo. That strong? He just soloed a dozen dudes like a video game boss. Daozi stepped forward, muscles tense, knuckles popping menacingly. Mr. Chu, let me handle him. Chu Wensheng nodded coldly, eyes narrowed. Just don't kill him. Daozi, towering and fierce-eyed, squared off against Chen Mo, voice dripping menace. Kid, you'll regret ever meeting me. Chen Mo didn't even blink, his voice as chill as the grave. Finished with your last words yet? Daozi's eyes twitched, anger erupting. Do you want to die? He roared, crimson energy flaring dramatically around him like some anime villain powering up. Chu Wensheng's lips twisted into a confident smirk, quietly noting, Daozi really has leveled up. Fist glowing violently, Daozi lunged forward like a rocket. How right. But the instant his fist reached Chen Mo's chest, an unseen force halted him midair. His punch twisted backwards, redirecting its violent energy right into himself. Blood burst from his mouth like a busted pipe. Daozi staggered backward, eyes bulging in shock before collapsing dramatically to the ground. Chu Wensheng's smirk instantly froze, replaced by stunned disbelief. Daozi's an elite commando I hired at top dollar, and he just got blasted aside like a rag doll. Gasps exploded everywhere. What just happened? Is this guy for real? Chen Mo's that powerful? Zhang Xian nearly collapsed, knees knocking together like maracas, heart pounding furiously as regret filled him. And I thought I could teach him a lesson earlier. Did I just flirt with death? And Qiwei's brows knitted tightly, eyes calculating and cold. So that's your trump card. Fine, you've earned the right to be cocky, but in this world, wealth and power trump fists. You're still nowhere near Zhang Yuan Hao. Meanwhile, Yanner's eyes sparkled brightly, completely starstruck, murmuring softly to herself, Now, that's the kind of guy I'd marry. Chu Wensheng asked calmly, but with underlying tension, Daozi, are you all right? Daozi groaned, clutching his arm in agony, voice strained. Mr. Chu, my arm's broken. He might genuinely be one of those legendary martial artists. Chu Wensheng's eyes snapped open wider than dinner plates. A martial artist? That explained everything. Shifting gears instantly, Chu Wensheng's grim face cracked into a forced smile as he offered smoothly, Kid, you're impressive. How about becoming my bodyguard? 100,000 a month. A random voice in the crowd helpfully piped up. Forget the salary. Being Chu Wensheng's man is worth way more. Chen Mo finally turned around slowly, golden eyes piercing through Chu with lazy indifference. Then calmly dropping a bombshell reply, he said, Me? Your bodyguard? Are you trying to insult me? Chu Wensheng's smile evaporated instantly. In a swift move, he pulled out a gun, pointing it directly at Chen Mo, snarling, Kid, I'm trying to save your life. Think you can dodge bullets? The crowd gasped collectively. He's got a gun? It's over. Chen Mo's dead, but the one staring down the barrel didn't even twitch. Instead, Chen Mo stepped forward confidently, voice cold and calm like he was ordering lunch. I'll give you one chance. Put down the gun, get on your knees, and beg for forgiveness. His eyes flashed crimson, voice dropping to a chilling whisper. Then maybe I'll let you live. Chu Wensheng burst into mocking laughter, cigar smoke swirling around him like a cartoon villain. I'd really love to know where you get that crazy confidence from. From behind, An Qiwei stepped forward, her voice panicked yet irritated. Chen Mo, can't you just back down for once? Staying alive is way more important than your ego. But Chen Mo's eyes glowed quietly, steady and utterly unbothered as he calmly thought to himself, I may not be bulletproof yet, but I've got a dozen ways to silently finish him before he even pulls that trigger. Suddenly, a phone rang, cutting dramatically through the tension. Chenmo casually fished his phone out, glanced at the caller ID, then calmly raised a hand towards Chu. Hold up a second, he said casually, turning aside as if guns were no big deal. I gotta take this call. Chu Wensheng squinted suspiciously, cigar twitching between his teeth, sarcasm dripping from every word. By all means, say your last goodbyes. He kept the gun steadily trained, confident he held the cards. On the other end, a calm, elegant voice spoke up. Paiyun, from the Jin family. Mr. Chen, the herbs you requested are ready. When can you come over to treat my grandfather? Chenmo answered with his usual lazy confidence. I'm free now, but I might be delayed a bit. There was a brief pause. Mr. Chen, are you in trouble? Perhaps I can lend a hand. Chenmo eyed Chu's pistol like it was a mere nuisance. There's some guy named Chu Wensheng pointing a gun at me. I'll handle it, then head over. The moment the word Jin hit the air, Chu Wensheng's smug face twitched like he just swallowed expired milk. Chenmo turned casually, holding out the phone. It's for you. Chu blinked dumbly, grabbing the phone with irritation. Let's see who the hell you're bluffing with, he growled. Then, Chu Wensheng! Paiyun's voice exploded through the speaker, sharp enough to cut diamonds. What the hell are you doing? How dare you offend grandfather's honored guest? Chu flinched like he just stepped on a Lego brick barefoot. Second, young miss, he stammered, eyes practically popping out. I would never. What are you saying? But Paiyun wasn't done roasting him yet. Her voice dropped dangerously low. That young man standing in front of you is Mr. Chen, my grandfather's personal guest. Even I wouldn't dare raise my voice at him. Are you tired of living, Chu Wensheng? Chu Wensheng's face drained faster than a leaky bathtub, trembling visibly. He's Mr. Jin's honored guest? He whimpered, glancing fearfully at Chenmo. Chenmo gave a mild smile, eyes still chillingly indifferent. Can I have my phone back now? Chu Wensheng, now sweating buckets, stuttered, bowing repeatedly like an overeager bobblehead. Yes, of course, Mr. Chen. Here. He handed it back, hands shaking uncontrollably, voice pitched higher than usual. I was blind and stupid. Please forgive my ignorance. Paiyun's calm voice returned over the phone. Mr. Chen, I've reprimanded Chu Wensheng. Please spare his pathetic life. Just send your location. I'll send someone immediately. Chenmo replied breezily. Fine. Relief hit Chu like a ton of bricks as Chenmo turned away, but tossed a casual glance back. All right, I'll let it slide this time. Also, please fix your face. It's honestly uncomfortable to look at. Yes, Mr. Chen. Chu blurted, forcing an awkward, terrified smile that looked more painful than his defeat. Nearby, Daozi and Chu's stunned henchmen stood frozen, mouths hanging open. Did Chu Wensheng seriously just apologize to a high schooler because of a single phone call? Another mumbled in disbelief. Is that really Chu Wensheng? Or some imposter? Even Xiyang and Zhang Xian stood dumbfounded, faces blank with total confusion. Zhang Xian muttered aloud in shock. Who am I? Where am I? What year is it? Clearly losing his grip on reality. Meanwhile, Chenmo calmly approached the girls, his aura radiating quiet, effortless dominance. I've got other things to handle, he said plainly. Go ahead without me. Yaner started to protest, but Kiyue quickly cut in, grabbing her arm urgently. Let's go already. In a heartbeat, panicked footsteps echoed around them as the group swiftly fled the scene, eager to leave the chaotic drama behind. Hurry! Get in the cars! Later, Chenmo arrived confidently at the Jin family's luxurious mansion. The moment he stepped through the gates, Zhongrun greeted him respectfully, bowing deeply with clasped hands, voice full of admiration. Master Chen! Paiyun followed closely, lowering her head respectfully, visibly humbled. They quickly escorted him inside to a table piled high with herbs. Chenmo inspected them carefully, and nodding approvingly. Quality's not bad. Paiyun, eager yet unsure, asked curiously, Master Chen, do you need additional equipment? Like a pill furnace? Chenmo raised a casual eyebrow. Who said anything about needing a pill furnace? She blinked nervously. Isn't that how it always works in novels? Better furnace, better pills? Chenmo chuckled lazily. Then, with a confident grin and an audacity that could rival any cooking show host, he picked up the herbs dramatically, proclaiming, Ha! When I refine pills, all I need are these two hands. If you didn't catch his drift, it's like he's promising to cook an entire gourmet meal barehanded. No tools, no stove, no oven. Will he pull it off or end up embarrassing himself royally? Stay tuned to find out.